Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So this is my first in progress book review, and this is my friend Keisha.
Hi!
She is here with me because she is reading this book with me.
And oh, what a book.
It is, whoa. So
Whoa.
it is, you want to read it?
This is Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, who is a person of color who was immediately attracted to me about this book because I love reading book by Black Girl Rock. Yeah. But man, what a book.
Yeah, it's insane. So we read part 1. That's what we're going to talk about today. I don't know what made me decide that this is what we were going to read. It's a genre that we're both interested in. So it was just like, you know what? And people were really excited for this book because it's her first adult fiction one, or at least that's what I have been told. So it's her first adult fiction book. So people were really excited. She is like the queen of young adult fiction. Like her A Court of Thorn and Roses series.
Legendary.
Don't even get me started.
Who hasn't?
Sand all the way. But so we read part 1, and spoilers, there will be spoilers because this is an in progress book review. So there will be spoilers.
Spoilers.
So,
like and come back after you read part 1, unless
Yep.
you don't care about spoilers.
Yep, so if you want to read it with us, go get the book, read part 1, listen to part 1. I don't care what you do, get part 1.
Because Shayla read the book and I listened to the book. I listened to the Audible version, who is narrated by Elizabeth Evans. Shout out to her, who does an excellent job reading it. I purchased it with 1 credit. We're not obviously sponsored by Audible, but still.
Maybe someday.
Because I drive a lot, so that's why I chose to listen to it while I was driving in the car. And man, when we get into it, when I tell y'all, I literally had to stop to decompress.
Man. Man. Okay, so to start, our main character's name is Bryce. She is half human, half elf.
Yes.
So she's got the pointed ears and she's got freckles on her face, I believe, and that's what makes it clear that she's half human because the Fae are like flawless creatures.
So in this world, there are different fantasy type creatures. So you obviously have the Fae, which Bryce is half Fae, and then you have angels,
demons, werewolves, vampires, ghouls, zombies, pretty much everything you can think of in like the fantasy supernatural thing is here. And basically what happened was there was this like combining of realities, basically. It's like an alternate reality where all these things are real and
they're just kind of smooshed together.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Big Bang, but for mythical creatures.
Yeah, so
at least that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I read it too. It was just kind of like, okay, well, everybody's here. Kind of like, you know how in True Blood it was like, we're real, we're vampires, and they became citizens. It's like, that's what happened here. But, so we meet Bryce. We meet her best friend, Danica. And Danica is like...
She is that bitch. Like, excuse my French, but Danica, she is basically like... In this world, you know, when werewolves are born, you know, it's kind of already predetermined where they'll fall in, like, the werewolf social hierarchy. When Danica was born, it was very much so clear that she was going to be alpha. Not just any alpha, but, like, the most legendary alpha that ever was the alpha.
Which pisses off her mom, because her mom was supposed to be alpha next, and it like, jumped right over her.
Yep.
So her mom's always had this grudge against her. And I think that's going to come into play later in the book, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Her mom's a bitch.
Absolutely.
So we meet Danica. We meet this possible love interest named Connor,
who is a member of Danica's pack.
Yeah, we meet Danica's whole pack. We meet 2 of Bryce's friends, which I don't even think their names matter because they like...
And I totally forgot their names, but...
One of them's Fury, and she's an assassin for hire.
Yes.
The other one is like, I don't think it's a nymph, but she's like half goat and she's a dancer. But I started reading part 2.
Oh.
Yeah, just a little bit, and like after the stuff we were about to talk about, they kind of like Fury doesn't talk to her at all.
Well, yeah, because we'll get to why Fury doesn't talk to her at all.
But like basically she gets cut off. Like she meets the goat lady like maybe once a week for like lunch. But,
yeah. Anyway.
Anywho, so
Danica and Bryce, they're BFFs, and in this world, once you come of age, which for them is what we said,
like 25
or 26,
something like that.
You do what's called the drop, and that's basically the way that you become. I mean, it's immortal, but it also isn't. It kind of just like extends your life to basically immortal.
You'll be 26 forever until something murks you, basically.
Yeah.
But so they were going to do that together. However, so this is what got me. So we knew right off the bat, based off of the definition, like the synopsis of the book, something bad happens that changes Bryce's life.
Yes.
So the way that they introduced Danica, we knew she was gonna die.
Yes.
Straight up. She was gonna die. So Bryce goes out on a date, breaks up with her boyfriend, goes out clubbing, gets shit-faced, drunk, on drugs, all of that.
With Fury and Goat Lady, whose name we can't remember.
Sorry. I can't even be bothered to look up because she's barely there.
Yeah.
So she's fucked up.
Yeah.
She's 3 sheets to the wind.
Yeah. And Connor asks Bryce to be like her girlfriend, like a really sweet and cute way.
He asked to take her out on a date, and she's finally like, fine, yes, I'll go on a date with you. And I'm like, ooh, yeah,
it was so
we
cute.
met Danica's whole pack, and I'm like, I love every single one of them.
It was so sweet, which is how you knew they were all gonna.
Yeah, and then Bryce gets home. Bryce finds Danica's completely eviscerated body. Not even eviscerated. There's just chunks of her flesh left. Like, she was eaten alive. Connor was eaten alive.
Yes.
The entire pack was torn apart.
Yes.
Now, this is important because not only was Danica that bitch and that powerful, that pack was that pack was the strongest pack in this city.
Yes, they were.
They were torn apart within seconds.
Yes.
And nobody knows who or what did it. They know it was a demon.
Yeah. Now, prior in the story, there was this guy who had murdered, I think they were other werewolves.
And he was like bombing stuff.
Yeah. And due to some legal technicality, he was getting released from jail.
Yeah.
And Danica was pissed. And like her whole vibe and energy was off because normally she would have gone clubbing.
She ate like 3 pizzas.
Yes. With Bryce, but she didn't go because it was also pack night, which conveniently had all the members of Danica's pack
in one central location.
Yep. And yeah,
so Briggs got out coincidentally the day that they were all murdered, and Danica was the one that put him away. Mm-hmm. So the day that he got out on a technicality, they were all murdered. I feel like he did have something to do with it, but not directly.
Yeah. Here's my running theory as of right now. Because his name is Briggs, right?
Yes.
He, I believe, is human.
Yes.
So I think he summoned the demon that killed Danica's pack. That is my running theory right now. I have not read part 2 yet. I'm going to start reading part 2 tonight on my drive home. But that is my running theory as of right now.
I don't think he did, because if you remember, okay, so she finds their body. She tries to chase the thing down. She gets injured by it. It kills an angel. By the way, angels in this are fucking scary
as hell.
And they're like the best warriors ever. And an angel gets killed by this thing. Yeah. And she tries to save the angel's life, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
She gets detained, not as a suspect, but as a witness.
Yes.
Who's also bleeding to death. So she gets detained by 2 angels, Isaiah and Hunt.
Yeah. And the angels, Isaiah and Hunt, like it was like 100 years prior or something, they were part of a rebellion where a bunch of angels tried to rebel against this world's power that be's. The rebellion failed, and so now these angels work for the super secret powers that be as basically indentured servants.
Yep. And so they're working off a debt so they could be free and do whatever they want. But right now they're working off a debt. Yeah. So that's what they're doing right now. They're basically detectives right now trying to figure out what the fuck just killed the most powerful pack in the goddamn city. Mm-hmm. They have literally nothing to go off of except Bryce's testimony, and she's a wreck right now. She's not speaking. They're like, do we have to torture her to get the information out? Because they were gonna.
Yeah. She's also high as hell.
She's high as fuck. She's drunk as fuck. She's traumatized. They're not getting anything out of her.
No.
So this is what I was gonna say. Like, whilst they're talking while they're watching her through the two-way mirror thing. Isaiah, I'm pretty sure, said something about Briggs is not powerful enough as a human to summon something that strong. So Briggs could have worked with someone who was strong enough, because you have to have a certain level of strength to summon demons in general.
Okay.
And
well, my second theory is it was Danica's mom.
I do feel like she had some sort of role to play, except Danica's mom was about to get a really high position on like some sort of like werewolf board or something like that. Remember?
True.
She's about to become a really high.
True.
So like she didn't even need to be alpha anymore, but she was getting something else.
Yeah. But she's kind of a bitch.
What
so.
also pissed me off is like she was more concerned about where Danica's sword was.
Oh yeah, because Danica has this really cool badass sword
that she just left in the fucking break room at Bryce's job. Bryce didn't take the sword. Danica was just like, there's my sword in there, I need to change clothes, and left it there.
Which again is why I was saying how Danica was acting sus before she was murdered.
She didn't bring her sword with her.
Because she didn't bring her sword with her.
And she takes that thing literally everywhere.
And where Bryce works is kind of like an art gallery, and it was like a little employee closet area. So it was a really strange place for Danica to leave the sword.
Yeah, and like Bryce hunts for like artifacts and stuff to like sell to sus people.
Yeah.
But so let's talk about Isaiah and Hunt. I think they're a really weird duo. Because, like, Isaiah's the boss, but not really the boss. Like, he wasn't actually appointed the boss of this team, but, like, he's the boss.
Yes.
But Hunt is the most powerful angel there. So Isaiah's like, how can I be the boss of him when I know very well that he could kill me like that?
Yeah.
Because Hunt has the ability to control lightning. And not just make it, like, from the sky. It literally, like, dances out of his hands. And, like, you can tell when he's angry because lightning plays across his fingers. But, Hunt is called the Shadow of Death. And so, because of how
brutal,
how good he is at killing, how brutal he has a helmet that has, like, horns on it. He's that deadly. Like, people see him and they're like, he's gonna fucking kill me. Even if he's not, they see him and they immediately go, it's the Shadow of Death.
Yeah.
But,
basically, like, your angel of death type guy.
Yep. But they spent so much time explaining him and his backstory and focusing on him that I know he's gonna be in the rest of the story. Him and Isaiah are gonna be in the rest of the story.
Yes.
And Hunt either is gonna become really good friends with Bryce or is about to be Bryce's lover.
I think he's gonna be love interest just because of the focus that we're getting on this character.
Yeah.
And their banter is funny and adorable. And
not even, okay, so there wasn't really banter between them because she hasn't actually spoken to him.
Well, what about when he is supposed to? Because they're supposed to be because Bryce is supposed to be working with these two angels.
But that's not in part 1.
That was part 2?
Yeah, that's.
Well, shit, I read ahead. My bad.
Yeah, that's in part 2. In part 1,
ignore that.
He's only spoken to her. So in part 1, it's explained that they tried to detain her and she was like fucking losing her mind because she was on drugs. And the only thing that got her to calm down was Hunt took off his helmet, looked at her and said, calm the fuck down. And she just kind of stopped moving. She was just kind of like, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
And then when she freaked out in the interrogation room because that fucking Wraith woman played the audio tape of her friend being murdered and begging for her life. Let's fucking talk about that real quick.
Oh my gosh.
That was so tactless.
So horrible.
Like,
oh my gosh.
Hunt was pissed.
He was.
He was like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, he was like, turn that tape off.
Oh my gosh.
This woman made Bryce, who is still in shock, traumatized, like,
basically listening to the death of her person,
of her friend, begging for her life as she's being torn apart.
Just thinking about it, I'm just like tearing up again. It was so fucked up. Like, I literally had to. I was like at work.
And that was awful.
I literally had to pull
Bryce
over.
freaked out and like threw the table across the room and stuff. And Hunt, after they got her to calm down, was like, "Nicely done." That's the most that they talked in part 1. So, in part 2. Some shit's gonna happen where they meet up again and she's gonna end up working with them because she's gonna get wrapped into this again. I haven't gotten that far.
I have.
But so we're not going to talk about part 2. That's going to be another review.
Yeah.
But so
and
that's
we kind of dipped into it, but we'll talk more about it later.
But so that's where we are now. And so she gets released from the interrogation. Like, they don't even put her in the room for like torture and stuff to get information, because Isaiah gets a call from his boss that says, let her go. And he's like, why? It's like, someone higher up than us just said to fucking let her go.
Yeah.
And this prince comes in. He's the prince
of fairies.
And he's like, she's my cousin. I'm here to escort her out. Da-da-da. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
They're like, she's related to you? And he's like, yeah, so you better fucking let her out. And he was like, just pulling out the whole my daddy's the king, da-da-da bullshit. And they're like, fine, fucking rich boy. And Hunt hates him. Hunt hates Danica's mom. Danica's mom, Sabine, is on Hunt's list of one of these days, you're not going to see it coming, but I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And I hope it happens in this book.
Hopefully.
I hope it happens in this book.
It's a pretty thick book, so it might happen.
It might.
Yeah.
I've got the parts marked.
See, this is a thick boy.
Yeah, it's a thick baby. But so she gets released, and that's kind of where part 1 ends. It's just the higher up royal king was like, yeah, no, that's my niece. Let her go.
Yeah. The fairy king.
Yeah, he's like, of just this one house, because there's like a fairy king. Yeah, a fairy king for each house.
Yeah.
So he was like, no, let her go.
Yeah.
And so they're like, God damn, this is outside of our jurisdiction because she belongs to that house, not this one. There's 4 houses, and she belongs to House of Earth and Blood. And so the king of that house was like, nah, she's not part of y'all's
house. Yeah,
let her go. And so they let her go, and that's where it ends. Bryce wasn't allowed to go to Danica's, like, I don't know what it was called. It was like her funeral, basically. Where they let her body go in the river. They told her that she wasn't welcome. So she had her own little private ceremony where she went to, like, not the ether, but like a little, like, almost like a purgatory in between worlds, and had her own little, like, goodbye ceremony for Danica.
It was really sad.
It was depressing. But it's like people are blaming her for what happened, even though she had nothing to do with it.
It wasn't even there.
Yeah, she wasn't there.
If she was there, what could she have done?
I think what
murdered.
It is they're blaming her, 1, because she's half human, so they don't like her because she's a half breed. But 2, they never got a testimony out of her. They never got a witness statement. So they're like, you could have helped, but you didn't. She's dead because of you.
Yeah.
And so that's
it was more so Danica's mom who didn't want her there.
And I think Sabine is also, she's probably going around spreading it, like, it's Bryce's fault. Danica would have had a good life and would have lived to make the drop if she didn't live with this fucking half human.
Yeah. Which is fucked up because Danica didn't even like her mom, low-key.
Right. Danica fucking hates her mom.
Yeah.
But so that's where we are. That's part 1. We're gonna read part 2. I don't know when we're both gonna finish it, and like our schedules when we'll get there, but we'll get there. I'll let you guys know.
But overall synopsis: this is a great book. It pulls you in immediately. It's fantasy, but it's set in a modern setting. These characters are relatable.
Rips your fucking heart out.
Rips your heart out.
Puts it back in a little bit, but doesn't sew up the wound yet. But like,
and can we just talk about the cover? Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
I've seen the cover for book 2. It's green.
Ooh.
And it's really pretty too.
Ooh.
I almost bought book 2 before I haven't even finished book 1, and I was gonna buy book 2.
Book 2 is in my wish list on my Audible, so as soon as I finish book 1, I will be getting book 2 because I have 2 credits sitting waiting for me.
I'm probably just going to buy book 1 ahead of time because I already know I'm going to like it, plus we have to finish it because we've already committed to reviews.
Yes, we have. But man, what a good, there's a reason why she's the queen, Sarah J. Maas, great read. Highly recommend.
I'm enjoying it so far as well. I can't wait to see what else happens to Bryce. Part 2 is definitely a lot longer, so it's going to take us a little bit longer to get through this, but we will have a lot more to talk about next time. It's a nice
it's like literally it's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm going to hold back
so that we have so much more to talk about.
Because part 2 is like I said, we get, no spoilers, but we get more banter between, was it not Hunt, but the other one, Isaiah and Bryce, and it's gonna be great, you guys. I'm really excited.
All right, that wraps it up for now. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks.
If you want to read along with us, part 1 and part 2, just get those read, and I'll be posting hopefully by the middle of May. I'll give us that. We'll put up the next video because that is a lot, and I tend to forget that I'm reading certain books. I'm reading.
Also, follow me on Insta, Duchess Beatty.
Follow me on Instagram, Shayla Stories, TikTok, Shayla Stories, Facebook, Shayla Stories.
And buy her books, Shayla Stories.
My website is shaylastories.com. All Shayla Stories.
Basically, type in Shayla Stories and you'll get her.
You'll find me.
Yes, she has short stories for sale. They're really good. I haven't bought mine yet, but I will. So yeah, check us out.
Bye.
Bye.